I'm joined here today by the one, the only, one of the most hyped prospects in MMA, especially in the heavyweight division, Davion Franklin, set to fight Bellator 274. What's going on, sir? How are you?
Man, just getting ready for this fight, man. Looking to go out there and do what I do best and continue to rise and climb up these rankings.
I know normally guys at this point, they're cutting weight and stuff like that. Being that you're a heavyweight, though, I assume weight-wise, like, you're fine. You don't really have a whole lot to worry about.
Uh, I'm a big heavyweight, but I'm not like fat. I'm just just really muscular, and I got so I definitely have to cut a little bit of weight. But by the time I fight, the weight's usually made.
That's something I think Juan Adams brought up at one point is that promoters don't want heavyweights to get, over 265 because they think at that point the only solution is to get fat. But I assume for you, like, firsthand, like, that's not the case.
Yeah, I'm like, there's only like another heavy. There's only one heavyweight who's like me, and that's Francis Ngannou. He has to cut to make weight too. You know what I mean? And we not on fat boys. I'm jacked, so you know gotta make
You
that
say
weight.
that we have Derrick Lewis fighting this weekend as well. He cuts weight too. Would you consider him part of the Ngannou Franklin clan, or is he doing his own thing?
Derrick Lewis is athletic, man. I feel like people like to try to compare me to Derrick Lewis because I'm bald, but like I feel like I have a better physique than Derrick Lewis. You know what I mean? But and I'm more athletic and more explosive than Derrick Lewis too.
Is
So
that something you're hearing a lot? Like everybody's trying to put you in that box with Derrick Lewis. I feel like you guys have very different sort of ways of fighting.
uh, I hear I hear some people say I'm the Bellator's Francis Ngannou, so I think that's kind of cool. I think people think that I look like Derrick Lewis, if anything,
I mean, I
which
guess
is
you'll take it,
whatever.
right? People like Derrick Lewis. I guess that's not the end of the world to kind of look like him.
One more time, brother.
No, I was just saying it's not the end of the world saying you look like Derrick Lewis, right? Like there are worse people that you could have been compared to.
I don't know. I mean, I like to just think I look like myself. You know what I mean? So
Fair enough. Fair enough. Can't argue
Derrick
with
Lewis,
that.
Derrick Lewis, he's not the most handsome guy either. So it's kind of like, you know,
All right, I feel like we're gonna
like
start
that.
firing shots at Derrick Lewis, man. Let's talk about this fight a little bit.
Nah.
You're taking on Said Sowma, man. What was your reaction when they came to you and said, this was the next opponent?
They asked me who do I feel in the top 10 I should fight right now, and my two choices was Tyrell Fortune or Said Sowma, but then Tyrell Fortune was fighting at around that time when I heard about the fight. Tyrell Fortune had just got done fighting Lynn Vasso, so I said, just go with Said Sowma. Plus, and I think that'll be like I knew I shouldn't just shoot for someone in the top 5, but I also felt like Said Sowma wanted to fight me as well. That's what I was hearing. Like he thought he can beat me, so I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'll take that fight.
When you were saying he thought that he could beat you, was that like a disrespectful thing? Sometimes people they'll say things that are a little bit, or was it just like a competitive standpoint?
To me, I feel like when you're like saying that you could beat me, it's like how could you say you can beat me? Like how dare you say you can beat me? You know what I mean? But no, I don't take it as disrespect, but I do think I'm still proving myself. So like people don't really necessarily know exactly who I am yet, and until this is one of those kind of fights that people are gonna know who I am after I go out there and destroy this guy.
What
Well,
does
I
that?
don't want I don't want and I don't want to sound too cocky, but he's probably thinking the same thing about me. You know what I mean? That's just the facts.
So what does that tell you about Bellator? That like they're letting you choose someone in the top 10. You're facing guys with a ton of experience. I believe your last opponent, 15 fights, undefeated. Like, and you're only about 4 or 5 fights in your career. Like that must mean they see something special in you.
Yeah. So what was your question again, brother?
I mean, what does that tell you about your relationship with Bellator? Because I assume it must feel good knowing that there's that much confidence in you early on.
Yeah, it feels good. I'm just I don't know. I think from what I understand, like with like my new contract that came up, there's like, well, you're getting paid a certain amount of money. You have to fight certain caliber opponents. But the thing is with me, I'm game. I don't care about money. I care about my legacy. I care about being a legend. And I care about being great. And you cannot become great by fighting people who everybody expects you to beat. You become great by beating people who people don't think you can beat. You become great by being the champion. You become great by beating the best of the best. So that's what I do. I want to prove that I'm the top dog. I think I am the top dog. And how do I prove that I'm the top dog? By fighting top dogs. You know,
D- Do you feel like this is the fight? This is sort of your breakout fight. It seems like everybody needs the one fight sort of prove like, yeah, I belong here. Is this that fight for you?
I think this is that fight because they're trying to hype him up like he beat Minikov decisively and everything like that. So what's gonna happen when I go out there and do what I do to everybody to this guy?
So when you look at the title picture in Bellator, obviously we just had the title fight with Ryan Bader. I assume for you, you must be thinking like you're going to be in that title picture, but pretty sooner rather than later.
I would like that. Cyril Gain did it. Why can't I do it?
That's fair enough, man. Let's talk about this fight with Said Sowma a little bit, man. How do you sort of look at the matchup in this one? Because I assume obviously it favors you. I've never heard someone say the matchup doesn't favor them, but how are you looking at this matchup?
Um, like skill wise or just like
Style wise?
so you got a guy who people think you have a guy who people think can't make it out of the first round and can't who people think that after the first round is going to gas out, and then you have a guy who everybody thinks has really good cardio. That's what it looks like to a lot of people from what I've seen. But it's also like they want to build it as a power versus skill, but I have skill too, and I think my kickboxing is better than his. And I just have so much more power than him. So
Do you feel a little bit like when you have big power, like people tend to put you in this box, like they don't sort of look at the overall skills. It's just we feel that way with Derrick Lewis too. We mentioned him before, where it's like, oh, he has big power, but people almost disrespect the rest of the skill set.
a little bit, but that's the gift and the curse because realistically, all I gotta do is just touch this dude one time. He can't take too many cracks from me. All I gotta do is just touch him, connect. He's done.
All right, and I have to ask because you are currently at Jackson Wink, like literally sitting down there, man.
Yeah, I'm literally at Jackson Wink
Yeah,
right now.
who are some of the people you're working with? Obviously, gym full of killers. Everybody's pretty much famous over there. Who are you working with this training camp?
uh, I work with this particular training camp. I work with Christian Edwards a lot, and there's been like a couple of new guys who's come in. Uh, but like I said, this training camp, I kind of just like focused on like cardio more so than everything. I've been building my skills for a long time. I still have like the same coaches, but the Christian Edwards, the Juan Adams, the John Cunningham. He just got signed to PFL. Him, uh, who else? A couple new guys, but again, like this camp, I just kind of put a lot of emphasis on making sure my cardio is up to par, to where I feel confident about it.
And so, what are you doing for your cardio? Because I know in fighting, it's a little bit different. Like some people imagine it's just spending 3 hours on the treadmill. Some people they say it's swimming. Some say you can only get it through wrestling. How are you working on your cardio?
I wrestle. I've been going to my I've been going to, I've been, well, I grew up wrestling, so I knew like you got to get that wrestling shape in. Uh, Wrestling a lot of running. And just eating right. Your body's a machine, so you got to treat it like a well-oiled machine. You know.
Do you enjoy the running aspect? Because I know some people like it. Like Chito Vera, he says like mental clarity lets them think. Other people they just hate it and they're miserable the whole time. How do you feel about it?
Um, I don't hate it, and I don't know if I enjoy it. I just know that you have to thrive in the monotony of doing the same thing every day, and I thrive in it. I don't think you have to like it what you do, but you have to like I love the results, so you have to do it. It's something that you have to do, not just to cut weight, but for me to know that for me to be a man who walks around at 280 pounds, just a solid muscle, to know that I could run 4 to 5 miles and not be tired, like that means something to me.
Do you feel a difference when you're out in the cage physically compared to your opponent? Like you put your hands on them. Do you feel that strength advantage from being 280?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm gonna come in this fight at 280, but I know I was cutting down from 280. You know what I mean? I've been cutting down from 280, but I feel the difference, not because yeah, I do feel the difference. I can't lie. Yeah.
But what does that do for your confidence though? Because I assume it must feel good. Like two athletes going out there trying to knock each other out. You put your hands on someone, you feel like No, it must feel good to know that you have that big advantage.
Yeah, it feels good, but I think it's gonna feel better knowing that like you know I just have like a better understanding for fighting, if that makes sense. I have like for professional fighting too. Like I just have like a just me understanding the fight game more and just understanding fighting more. I think that's what makes me feel more confident than anything.
I know at one point you kind of flirted with pro wrestling. I think it was the tryouts of WWE didn't go well or something like that. What's new with pro wrestling? Is that done forever, or are we still going to see you sort of flirt with that a little bit?
Uh, yeah, I didn't necessarily flirt with it. I grew up watching it, but they recruited me. I didn't like go out. That's not something that I was seeking. But no, I think I'm more interested in hopefully and not knock on wood and hopefully God wills it. But I'm more interested in having a legendary MMA career. You know, like with pro wrestling, someone tells you when to win, when you have to win, and when you're gonna lose. Like I like to take it all into my own hands and go out and win every time I fight. I said I want to be undefeated my whole career, and I don't think not one heavyweight has done that ever. So I pray to God and I hope that I can do it.
Are you putting a lot of pressure on yourself when you say you want to stay undefeated? Like we know some guys they get to a high level of being undefeated and they feel extra pressure heading into fights. Is that extra pressure for you wanting to keep that zero?
Well, there's like extra pressure every fight. Like I for some reason like I don't understand why I'm like this, but like I don't know, like high stress, high pressure situations, I feel like I kind of thrive in it. I think pressure could either make you or break you, and like I just there's no greater feeling than overcoming like the odds, and you know what I'm saying. There's no greater feeling than triumph and just knowing that like oh the odds are stacked against you and just coming out on top. Like that's the best feeling. I love pressure. I eat pressure. Like and people think that like Said Sowma is like the guy who could beat me. I like my people looked at me and Everett Cummings, even though he had a 15-0 record. Some people like, oh, he has a 15-0 record, he still can get him. But I think most people looked at us and was just like, oh, Davion got him. You know what I mean? you know, so I haven't felt like this way since my first fight ever.
Are you
I felt,
sort of at that Michael Jordan point with the, and I took that personally? 'Cause it kind of sounds like that sounds like the point we're at right now.
yeah, I want to. It's just like I know I shouldn't say this because I know I'm so early in my career, but I man, I want to be great. I just want to be undeniable. That's all I want from MMA. Like I just want to feel like I'm worth something. So
So listen, man, getting to this fight with Salma, what kind of fight are you expecting out there? Because I think if you listen to people, it sounds like they're expecting a first round of chaos. If you're looking for the knockout, and then the rest of the fight just being a grind fest. What are you kind of expecting? Because I can't assume you're thinking the same thing.
uh first of all, like I'm not gonna go out there and empty my gas tank trying to finish him if that's what people are thinking. Like they can get that out their head. I've already learned from that mistake. I've done that before, you know. But what I will say is I'm gonna be looking for the finish the whole fight. If it's over in the first round, it is what it is. If it's over in the third round, it is what it is. But the whole fight, I'm never gonna not be looking for the finish.
Fair enough. One last question for you. It's an easy one, but how do you see yourself getting your hand raised at Bellator 274?
Uh, Dominating, probably. I mean, like I really, like I said, I don't like to make predictions anymore, just because like I just don't like to do that, you know. But it'd be great to get it to knock him out. It'd be like it'd be great to knock him out and then call someone out in the top five, knock them out over the summer, be fighting for a title by the end of the year. That's my plan. That's my goal.
All right, man. Well, we look forward to it. Obviously, it's a great plan. It's going to be a great fight. Thanks so much for the time. I really appreciate it.
Man, thank you, brother.